Oh boy, you get 17 editions of it this season. Here comes number 9 of Bears football. You should treat it as the gift that it is. The gift of mediocrity that just keeps coming. Never goes away. It's always tried and true. Bears football. But anyways, certainly going to have a new look Bears team on the field Sunday afternoon in Soldier Field. No more Roquan Smith in a Bears uniform, and Chase Claypool has joined the fold. So, yeah, certainly some changes there right around the trade deadline. But an interesting matchup coming up this Sunday between the 5-3 Miami Dolphins taking on the 3-5 Chicago Bears in one of the worst stadiums in the National Football League, the dump at Soldier Field. And we look at this matchup starting off with the Miami Dolphins. As I mentioned, they're 5-3, coming in tied for second place in the AFC East behind the New York Jets. Winners of their last two, one last week over the Lions, even though they needed to come back to do that in the second half. One thing is for sure, you saw this team struggle a little bit without Tua when he was out with the concussions. Oh, excuse me. It was also a neck injury. Give me a fucking break. Like, how stupid do you have to be? Come on. It was a concussion followed by another concussion. Don't be dumb. Just don't be psycho. And you think Bears fans can be psycho about their quarterback? Just ask the Tua stands of the Dolphins. Holy hell. But they are clearly a different team when he is in the lineup. And when I look at the Miami Dolphins, I look at them as an example of a team that is doing it right when it comes to getting your young quarterback and then putting pieces around him. You look at last year, drafting Jalen Waddle. This year in the offseason, going and making the big splashy move to go bring in Tyreek Hill. There's been a heavy investment in terms of draft picks and then cap space for free agency on that offensive line. Has it always worked out the best? But they have put forth that effort. And then they go out and hire Mike McDaniel as the head coach. You know, the anti-Brian Flores. Just like Brian Flores, ... except you actually trust Mike McDaniel with your quarterback, ... except you actually trust Mike McDaniel with the goddamn offense, ... Mike McDaniel is just flat out better than that bum-ass Brian Flores. So offensively, this is an exciting Dolphins team. And defensively this year, while they've struggled against the pass, and especially to get consistent pressure, they certainly did their best to solve for that at the trade deadline, making the big deal to go get Bradley Chubb, the edge rusher from the Denver Broncos. Like, you look at the Dolphins down there saying, this is Tua on his rookie quarterback. Here's our window. Let's go after it. And I applaud teams that are going after it. The Miami Dolphins are clearly going after it. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Chicago Bears are only going after mediocrity, which is, of course, what, folks? Bears football! They're not going after the Super Bowl. They're not going after the number 1 overall pick. They just want to be somewhere in between. Hence why they're 3-5 and coming off of the 49-29 loss to the Cowboys last week. Now, we've certainly seen the Bears in the past couple of weeks do some things to reshape their roster. Traded Robert Quinn to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 4th-round pick in next year's draft. Then traded Roquan Smith to the Baltimore Ravens for a 2nd and 5th-round pick in next year's draft, as well as A.J. Klein. And then sending their own 2nd-round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers to bring in Chase Claypool. So you've got another wide receiver, another weapon, theoretically, for Justin Fields in that passing game, a team that badly needs some weapons. And I know some Bears fans the past couple of weeks are really starting to feel good about Justin Fields. I got to tell you, I'm just not there yet. I realize that the standard, the bar for the quarterback position in Chicago is so fucking low. But I'm not going to set my bar that low. Fields needs a lot of work. He needs a lot of help, yes, but he needs a lot of work. I don't give a shit whatever excuses we're going to say about gutless, gutsy. Put him up. Put him up. I'm the offensive coordinator. I haven't got courage. 39 halfback dive. I mean, if you want to blame that, the crappy offensive line, the crappy weapons around him. The bottom line is this dude has 1,199 passing yards in 8 games. He's went over 200 yards passing once. Once! I mean, Jesus Christ. Come on. It's that typical Bears football. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run the ball. And just when they don't see it coming, we're going to run the ball. Put them up. We're going to run the ball. Establish a physical identity. Bottom of the league in time of possession. Put them up. We got courage. Courage. I will say, though, the past couple of weeks, the offense has looked a little better when it has aligned to Justin Fields' strengths. In terms of his arm strength, in terms of his athleticism, in terms of his ability to move around, that's helped to get him comfortable. That's what they should be continuing to do. He is a dynamic athlete who can make some big things happen as a runner, and when you get him in the flow of the game early as a runner, it can loosen things up a little bit for him as a passer. But crowning his ass, I am a long, long, long way away from that. And every other Bears fan should be too. Maybe slightly encouraged the past couple of weeks, but he's doing most of the damage as a runner. Let's not get too carried away just yet. But that's where we're at. The Bears, meanwhile, defensively, you've lost Robert Quinn, you've lost Roquan Smith, to which I say this, shit. They just gave up 42 points on defense to the Dallas Cowboys last Sunday. So it can't get much worse. If you're going to say, well, that was an outlier performance, you're missing the fucking point. The point is, if you can give up that many points with them, you can give up that many points without them. Don't be a dunce about it. Get those draft picks. Get that capital that you need in the future. And honestly, it's good for the defense because you're giving some young guys some opportunities. You get more opportunities for Dominique Robinson and Travis Gibson as edge rushers. You're giving more opportunities to maybe Jack Sanborn in the linebacking core. These are the things that a bad team should be doing. They shouldn't be paying a bunch of money to Robert Quinn and holding on tight for Roquan Smith, especially if they're not going to re-up him anyways. So that's where we're at. In terms of this matchup, you look at this Sunday, for the Dolphins, the ironic thing is I'm going to say one of the keys to the game for them is be able to run the ball a little bit, get a little balance. If you can get a little balance and get the Bears off balance early defensively, that's going to open up all types of shit for Hill and Waddle, which I think is probably already going to be open anyways. But you get the Bears off balance by being able to run the ball at least a little effectively, it's going to be really hard for the Bears defense to stop this Dolphins offense. Meanwhile, for the Bears, again, the key is going to be get Fields on the move. Now, we talk about the big acquisition of bringing in Chase Claypool, the debate of how many snaps is he going to play. Let's have some real talk here. This team, under Gutless Getsy, put him up, running 60% of the time, 55% of the time. That's what we do. That's what we do. If you're running the majority of the fucking time anyways, then he should be in for more than half the snaps to start with. I mean, it's not like Claypool's coming off of an injury. Claypool's been playing. How much do you need him to know the playbook to block the guy in fucking front of him? And then as far as, well, he needs to know what the scheme is. He needs to know what the routes are. And he fucking does it at this point. You need to figure out ways to manufacture opportunities and touches for him. This should be a minimum 6 or 7 target game for Chase Claypool. An early screen, quick slant, crossing pattern, out, deep post, fly, stop, fade. There, I've named 7 different ways to get to a target. And I don't give a fuck. Doesn't matter if he's double covered. Force it to him. Force it to him. Because you got to find out what this guy can do. You didn't bring him in so he could get 2 goddamn targets. So don't give him 2 damn targets. And sometimes quarterbacks, and especially offensive coordinators, they dramatically overthink this shit. And you look at the Bears and you say, find ways to get the ball in Darnell Mooney's hands more. Find ways to get the ball in Chase Claypool's hands on Sunday. I don't give a fuck how you do it. Just do it. Just do it. Oh, geez, come on. Just do it. Shouldn't be that hard. The Dolphins are favored by 4 in this matchup, and I totally get it. They're the ones with the winning record. They're the ones with the better weapons on offense. They're the ones that just made the big move for Bradley Chubb. Meanwhile, the Bears seem to be going in the opposite direction. I like the Dolphins to win this matchup, probably like 27-20. But again, I don't really care. I just want to see Justin Fields throw the damn ball, and I want to see what you got in Chase Claypool. If you come out of this game and Justin Fields is again thrown for under 200 yards and Chase Claypool has less than 3 targets, then it was a really stupid game plan. I don't care if they win the damn game. Because wins and losses do not matter this year. Development of key talent does.